Hi, I'm Heather and I'm suffering with addiction and I'm 41 years old. I started using alcohol when I was in high school, probably 16, 17. I would go to parties. Then I was 27 when I used meth for the first time. I got really in trouble with meth when I was 27 for about 10 years. So then I just started drinking and went back to my old alcohol. I have two younger kids. They're here with their grandma now. Well, I had them, but they hated me while I was drinking. I was a complete mess. I could go to the store and get a bottle in 15 minutes and come back, and I was completely belligerent. I would be talking crazy, like in tongues to them, and they would get scared and go to grandma's house.
Hi, I'm Misty. I'm a person suffering from addiction and I'm 38 years old. The first time I started using, I was 14. I was marijuana. The first time I used meth was when I was 25, and then it never stopped. This time in jail has been really hard for me. When I came back, I had no faith. I didn't even believe in God anymore. Signing over my rights to my daughter was the last straw. I gave up.
My name is Amanda. I am a person struggling with addiction, 27 years old. I have 4 kids, a boy and 3 girls. One of my girls has severe disabilities. And after work one day, I had picked up my kids from school. We were eating peanut butter pretzels and having fun doing homework. And I get a knock at the door. I open it and it's my ex-husband. And he hands me a blue paper and he says, "I got the kids." And there was 2 separate cops with them. I forgot I had court that day. So it defaulted in his favor. So I had to watch my older 2 that I always had get drug out of my house. So after that, I went into a severe depression. So I had a friend that kept hitting me up on Facebook saying we should hang out. I said, "Well, I'm going through a lot right now." And he said, "Well, I have something that can help you." And I ignored it for a long time because I've never used drugs before that, really. And finally one day I texted him back. I said, "Hey, let's hang out." And that's when I started using heroin. And nobody knew about it. I was slowly slipping away. And it just didn't stop after that. I just started using more and more and more just to deal with all the pain.
Hi, my name is Raymond. I'm 30 years old and I'm a struggling addict. I've been using for more than half of my life. I started when I was 16, just smoking marijuana with my sister. And then along with partying with my friends and stuff, alcohol came into the picture. I started drinking alcohol when I was 17 years old. First time getting drunk was a 40 of Mickey's. I slammed the whole thing as a dare. Been in and out of this jail a couple times, but I just picked up my 7th possession charge. My attorney made a joke. I thought it was a joke, but she's dead serious. She says, "Raymond, you're gonna do a life sentence 1 year at a time."
Hi, I'm Derek. I am a person suffering from addiction. I am 33 years old, and I was born in Yuma, Arizona, and raised in Safford. When I was 14, I started using marijuana. I didn't realize how much I loved marijuana until after my dad passed, and what it gave me was just a way out. That's exactly what I used it for. I used it to run away from facing those fears, from those problems. It just progressed from marijuana to where that wasn't enough. I wasn't numb enough. And so it developed into abusing cough syrup. It developed into abusing alcohol, beer, hard liquor, all the way up to the epidemic of opiates.
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm a person suffering and struggling with addictions. 37 years old. My first time ever using drugs was at a young age. Started out with weed. Once I got out of high school and headed toward college, that's when I started hitting it up, trying coke and heavier things. My brother was the first person I did meth with, and I didn't know it was meth. It's making really good money. Had a nice house. Was able to give my wife money every morning before I went to work. Kids had whatever they wanted. And my wife started using even more heavily. Me and my wife almost separated for a couple months. And I started buying more and hitting her up. Hey, baby, I got a teener, and I'm by myself. You want to come get high? And next thing you know, I do the whole teener myself. Out in my yard, seeing and hearing things that, probably really wasn't even there. With that happening, I had lost my job with her after she was gone. So when she did come back home, I wasn't working, so we were struggling money-wise. So just to make ends meet and to keep getting high, we ended up started to work a couple of deals here and there, and both ended up getting in trouble. When I got picked up on the warrant, it was a sad day, but a happy one. Sad because I was going to be away from my kids, but happy because now I'm sober and able to see what I was doing to my family, and how I was blaming everybody else. I was blaming my wife. I was blaming PTSD, blaming the war, and really what it was just me.
My name's Bill. I'm a person in long-term recovery, which means I've been clean from drugs and alcohol for 8 years. 8 years, April 1st. Recovery isn't something that just happened for me. Like I said, I didn't just make a decision one day and boom, I'm recovered. My life has been fantastic since. It's been something that I've had to work at. When I got clean, I was 27. I still had consequences for my actions, so I had to go to prison. I got out of prison, I was 29 years old, and I didn't have nothing. I had nothing to my name. I had built enough trust in my family to be able to luckily parole to their house. And at that time, they weren't like, here's a house key and here's this and here's that. There was still a long time that I had to be home at a certain time, or I got to let them know if I'm going somewhere. And that was okay at that time, but I didn't, for a long time when I was using, I thought I had missed the boat on life. I'll never recover from all this wasted time. Right, and that's something that my addiction will tell me to keep me there, it's too late. The most important thing about recovery is that anyone can do it. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what age you are. So for me, the biggest thing was finding like-minded people that have had the same, that when I could hear them talk, I could tell that they'd been the same places. And I don't just mean weird apartments. I don't just mean homeless. I don't just mean robbing people at 3 a.m. to get drugs. I'm talking about the deep recesses of my mind and the deep recesses of my spirit that I'd been in order to find and use drugs. Those places that I said I'd never go, and those places that I was always ashamed that I had to go. And when I found people that had shared that experience, but yet they were happy. And when I got there, my life was a complete wreck. There wasn't anything to really be happy about, And they could share with me how they had gotten to be happy. Finding out that I wasn't alone. And that not only had these people been there, but now they're doing something different. So one of the first things I was able to do, my first tax return that I got when I got clean, it was it was weird because it's like, what do I do with this? Because before this would have gone to drugs, right? And so I got to fly. I decided I was going to fly out to Pittsburgh and watch a game, and I've been able to travel to numerous games. All those things that I pushed aside in the pursuit of drugs, I've been able to bring back in my life.
My name is Kathy. I'm a person in recovery from addiction and alcoholism. I have not used a drug or picked up alcohol and taken a drink in over a year. Specifically, I was using opiates and heroin, which is a big problem nowadays in the country. At this time, I didn't realize it was a problem. I just thought it was a lifestyle that I was going to have to live and do for the rest of my life. I didn't know that recovery or sobriety was an option. I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if I could live sober. I didn't know if I could function without having these chemicals in my body. The week that I realized I somewhat needed help, way deep down inside, I knew I couldn't live like this anymore. I didn't want to, but I didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know there was any existence of what you hear of 12-step recovery. I knew rehab facilities, but I'd always told myself, I'm not that kind of person. I don't need to go there. I can do this on my own. If I just stop and get it out of my system for a few days, I'll be able to do it. When little did I know that's not the case, because it is a disease. Today, as I am in recovery, I am able to be a daughter to the mom and the dad that they raised what they wanted out of me, and they saw my full potential. I'm able to be that now. I'm able to be a sister to my younger brother. I'm able to be an aunt. I'm able to be a friend. I'm able to be a niece. I'm allowed to be these things because I'm in the right state of mind now. I want to share this message because it is possible. Recovery is possible.
My name is Rhonda, and I am in long-term recovery. That means that I have not used drugs or alcohol in over 11 years. In the end of my addiction, my husband and I were smoking an 8-ball of meth a day and smoking pot and drinking. Probation came in and caught us with all the stuff we had in the house. I lost all 4 kids to foster care. They went to 2 different homes, and they wouldn't tell us where they were. Within the next couple of weeks, we ended up homeless. We ended up getting in touch with CBUS. I was afraid to go. I was afraid to quit. So I kept jumping out of the vehicle while my husband was driving, and he'd keep stuffing me back in. The problem with addiction is most people that haven't experienced it don't get it. Because there's nothing to get, we're crazy. You know, we don't think like everybody else. We don't feel like everybody else. We don't react like everybody else. And we were talking to a lady in CPS, and I was sick. Oh my gosh, I was so sick, coming down. And we let her know, you know, we really need some help. We can't do this by ourselves. And she went, well, just quit using, you'll be fine. You know, it was like, and she was in a position of authority that she could have helped us. To get that reaction was so discouraging. You know, when you already feel that bad about yourself and your life, you really don't need it. They need to get somewhere where they're going to get the support that they need. And they need to just not quit, no matter how bad it sucks, because it sucks for a while. You have to pay for the wreckage of your past. You have to feel stuff you're not ready to feel. You have to deal with stuff that you don't want to do. And you just keep trudging. Don't give up, because it's worth it. Life is really good today. I don't want to drink and use today. When things happen, it might float through my mind for just a second, but things are so good, there's no way I would do anything to go back, because that's the darkest, ugliest, loneliest place I've ever been. And I can't even believe that was my life.
About 10 years ago, I had a really bad bout of depression and held myself up in my house for about 2 weeks and just was trying to drink myself to death. And I was almost 300 pounds because of the alcohol and the eating. I was diagnosed with having bipolar and depression. And I kind of wrote down in just a little bit of words of exactly what my recovery has been like. It took me 2 decades of hell on earth and hell inside my own skin to find my way through. It wasn't easy nor pretty. nor did it seem worth it for much of those years. But something in me held on. Something made it through. Something must have wanted to live. Something hoped for peace. And slowly that is what I have found. A grittedly earned peace beyond anything I could have possibly imagined for me. Not perfection, just moments of beauty, simplicity, joy, and peace experienced and cherished in the daily ups and downs of living life on life's terms. And I think that that's what I would like my message to be, is addiction and mental illness go hand in hand. And to be quite honest with you, it's scary to come out and say this. I don't know what people will think of me, but at the same time, I know that there's so many of those addicts out there and so many of those people out there. And I realize this is something that I'll have to deal with the rest of my life. But I really feel like it's important for me now to come out and share my story and share this with people, because I don't want somebody to spend 2 decades of their years not understanding why they can't just get it. Don't leave until the miracle happens, because the miracle will happen. You're worth it. You are so worth it, I promise. You know, people suffer in silence, and they don't reach out, and they're embarrassed, and they're, you know, they don't even know who to reach out to.
My name is Jan, and I am in long-term recovery to overcome the effects of my loved one's addictions and what the effects it's had on me. I went to recovery to try to fix a family member, and I found out that I really needed to be there to fix me. 14 years ago, I had a family member go into rehab, and when we went to the rehab, to the family week, they said that one of the things they said was that if family is in recovery, then they have a greater chance of succeeding. My youngest son was caught in the web of addiction. And I always believed he was going to get better. He wanted to so badly. But in April of 2012, he died of an overdose at the age of 23. He left 2 children and his family behind. The tools that I had learned in the program, and in the recovery program, got me through that horrible grief. And I still use those tools. I learned in recovery how to deal with grief, and I learned that gratitude was what I needed to get through. You know, I still have a broken heart today, but I use those tools, and I have a happy life. I have peace and serenity most of the time. I have so many people in my life I'm so grateful for, and that helps me get through. I'm speaking today because I know there's many people who go through the same thing I've gone through, and they don't have recovery, and I just can't even imagine going through it without that help. Making it 100% a police and court problem is not going to solve the problem. Addiction requires treatment. We wouldn't ask the police to try to cure diabetes by arresting everyone who ate sugar. And it won't work any better to ask them to cure addiction by arresting everyone who takes drugs or drinks alcohol.